Hello everyone and welcome inside Rogers Center here in Toronto for the final game of this little 3-game week series between the Boston Red Sox and the Toronto Blue Jays. And so these teams have split the first 2 games. On the opener on Monday night, Boston took it 4-2 in extras. And last night, Blue Jays won it 4-3 off of a save by Jordan Romano, who finished the job for Ken Giles. Today, it'll be Hyun-Jin Ryu looking to give the Blue Jays the edge in this rubber match of this series.
And Ryu's coming off of a bit of a rough start in Baltimore. He pitched in the only game that the Jays dropped in that 3-game set. Only managed to go 5 innings, surrendered 6 hits, which resulted in him being pulled after giving up 3 earned. And the Jays lost that game 3-2. He was charged with a loss, and here he's in a situation where he can win this series for the Jays after the first 2 games were split and facing a Boston Red Sox team that he's seen some success against so far this year.
Yeah, certainly needs to bounce back after a bit of a poor outing in Baltimore. We'll see what he has today. Blue Jays defensively exactly the same as yesterday. Shaw still DHing, Hernandez back in right, Grichuk in center, Gurriel Jr. in left. Around the infield, it's Guerrero Jr. at third, Biggio at second, Bichette at shortstop, and Rowdy Tellez, the strong lefty, at first. As Hyun-Jin Ryu is now in a 2-1 count, leadoff hitter Jose Peraza here. And we thank you for joining us today on the Virtual Jays Network. My name is Jackson Farough. I'm joined, as always, by Drew Frank. And Peraza once again leading off today. And yesterday, he went, 1 for 4 with a walk. And he strikes out here. Tried to check his swing, but Ryu gets the first K of his game here.
And for the Red Sox, it's a little bit of a different look in the lineup. Here you're seeing Zue Lin up in the 2-hole. He was batting 9th yesterday, gets pumped all the way to the top of the lineup. He follows Peraza, who was retired. Then it'll be Martinez, Bogarts, and Devers, a bit of a steadying 3-4-5 there. Behind them, it'll be Moreland, Chavis, Vasquez is back behind the plate, batting 8th, and Jackie Bradley Jr. rounds things off, playing right field and batting 9th today.
Yep, so a bit of a change-up in Boston's lineup as they lost yesterday's game. 13-19 on the year are these Red Sox. And Zue Lin had quite the day in center yesterday. A couple good plays, one crazy diving catch. See what he has up his sleeve today, right back there, as he strikes out looking Ryu, painting the corner there.
Beautiful spot there, lefty on lefty. He worked inside to set him up and change his plane. Then he goes away with the fastball and freezes him. When you work inside as a pitcher, that outside pitch is established to look even further outside than it is, so he thinks that's off the plate, but it catches just enough to get the call and get his second strikeout in his many batters.
So it's JD Martinez at the plate now. Pretty good stat line. 252 average, 3 homers, and 12 RBI on the year. He's used to good stat lines. One of the best pure hitters in this Red Sox lineup. Better pure hitters in all of baseball over the last 5 years or so. And a 1-1 count to the left fielder today.
And Ryu faced these Red Sox right back here in Rogers Center on opening day. Gave up 2 runs in the first 2 innings, but then settled in and retired 10 of the next 11 batters to end his day. Scoreless 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, and picked up the quality start on opening day, which led to his first a win in his first appearance as a Jay.
Of course, he was the opening day starter. How could we forget the very first game, the pilot episode, if you will, on this very network. Full count to Martinez as that pitch misses low. Seeing Ryu not mess around when it comes to hitting the zone and trying to get these outs via the strikeout, as that one is grounded to first. And it looks like Travis Shaw is actually there to make the play and get the out. So we will head now to the bottom of the first here in Toronto. And so it'll be Collin McHugh starting for the Red Sox today in his first season in Boston.
McHugh had his season cut short in 2019 with an elbow injury, had some work on it over the offseason, and missed the first couple weeks of the season, but he's back. He made his first start just on Friday night in Minnesota. Didn't go so well. He couldn't get out of the second inning. Only won an inning and 2/3, surrendering 5 runs on 5 hits, and not a great start to his season, but he gets a chance to bounce back here in Toronto and potentially win a series for these Red Sox.
6 years in Houston. And he's mainly a starter earlier on in his career, worked his way to the bullpen later on. And he's kind of on his last legs in the major leagues. 1 year, $600,000 deal he signed in the offseason to come here as essentially, a fill-in arm. He'll work in the rotation here and there, and it looks like for now he will be in this rotation moving forward as a number 5 guy, but can work out of your bullpen as well. One when Biggio misses inside.
And he's got a nice 4-pitch mix. Throws a fastball and a cutter that'll get it on the lefties, but he also throws 2 breaking balls, a slider and a big looping curve.
As he's behind 3-1 in the count to the leadoff hitter Biggio. Once again in that spot, Biggio is hitting 175 now on the year. 3-1, fouled off, full count now.
No changes from Montoyo after yesterday's win. Wasn't the whole lineup working, but it was the bottom half that looked really good, so not messing with anything down there today.
0 for 4 was Biggio yesterday. 2 strikeouts. But we've talked a little bit about yesterday, his struggles in the leadoff spot. 0 for 4 the day prior with a walk. Grounds that one over to the left infield side rather, and the play is made for the out.
The catcher, number 9.
Well, for the Red Sox, it's a bit of a change-up defensively, specifically in the outfield. So it's Zue Lin in center field again after his performance last night. Looked pretty steady there. In his corners, though, 2 new outfielders as Benintendi and Pilar both get the day off. It's Martinez in left and Jackie Bradley Jr. in right.
Yeah, the Gold Glover finds in Bradley Jr. finds his way to right field today. Of course, Lynn a little more familiar in center. He did a great job yesterday. So, Red Sox manager Rob Renicky decided to, I'll throw the Gold Glover in right. Give some a level of comfort to Lynn in center. 2-1 to Jansen, misses inside. So early on, we see McHugh kind of falling behind in counts to these first 2 hitters.
And that slider, he missed his spot badly there. It was up and in when Vasquez wanted it low and in the dirt.
Swing and a miss there on that fastball. So for strike 2 now, another full count here.
And the reason McHugh wants that slider down is because he's been so effective in his career when it's in that lower third. Hitters are just batting 136 in those breaking balls low in the zone.
As Jansen swings and misses, strike 3 called, and the play is made to first to complete the out. 2 away here.
As Jansen goes down swinging there. He's shown some struggles lately up in the 2-hole, but he's one of many Blue Jays that haven't had much going. Yesterday, all 4 RBIs came off the bat of Bo Bichette down in the 9-hole, who had a great performance himself, but looks a little poorly on the rest of the Jays lineup as they weren't able to manufacture anything besides what he was able to put forward.
And how about the day prior on Monday? The only 2 runs came off the bat of this very man at the plate, Randall Grichuk. 2-run shot. In that one, as they ended up losing that game 4-2 in extras, but you know, they wouldn't have even gotten there without that deep shot to left from Grichuk. So yeah, all the runs coming off 1 bat in both games for the Blue Jays, so they'll be looking for some more spread out offense. You know, they haven't had a ton of that. It's been a lot of games where it's been, even in Baltimore, you know, Jansen's hitting home runs late, and then you start a rally after that, but haven't been too many of those in the last couple of games for the Blue Jays. They'll be looking to get back to that today. They've got a chance to do that today as well against a guy like McHugh, kind of a little vulnerable, hasn't had a great start to the year, a little older now, 5th starter. You've already got his pitch count up to what's going to be probably 20 here, at least 20. 2-2, the center fielder, taken inside.
And it's a Red Sox pen behind him that's worked quite a bit already. Of course, 10 innings on the game's opener. There was 4 pitchers used yesterday. So if you get them out early, it could be a chance to really strike.
So Grichuk takes ball 4 high for a 2-out walk to start off his day.
The third baseman,
And that'll bring up Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We see his home and road splits here, hitting much better at home in terms of average, but his power numbers, 4 home runs, 4 of his 5, in fact, are on the road.
And doing it where it counts. 2 of those home runs in Fenway Park and 2 more in Yankee Stadium. Where better for a Blue Jay to get those hits in on the road?
Absolutely. And we will see those Yankees, in fact, in the next series this weekend. I should be very excited. 2 teams at the top of this division. We'll have full coverage of that on the virtual Jays Network. Myself and Drew on the call for those games. I'll be right here at Rogers Center. So this Jays team will look to kind of gain some momentum heading into a pretty big series. Of course, whenever the Yankees are in town, there's always a little bit of a buzz, as that one gets away from Vasquez, but Grichuk unable to advance. 2-0 to Guerrero Jr.
And the Jays just a half game behind the Yankees, but they'll have a chance to strike before Judge and Paxton and even Stanton come back. All 3 of them still hurt out past this series, so still a very strong Yankees team, but one that's banged up a little bit.
And one that the Jays were able to contend with last series in New York, right? They were able to battle a little bit. That was their first actual road trip of the year in New York. Took 2 of 3 in that one. Guerrero Jr. in a full count now after fouling that one off. So we see another long at bat here for McHugh early. 26 pitches now, 27 rather. As Guerrero Jr. swings and misses, Vasquez throws to first to complete the out. So the Blue Jays work some long at bats, but don't gain too much from it. Still a scoreless game here in Toronto on the virtual Jays Network. Welcome back to Toronto. We'll see the shortstop Xander Bogaerts step in. hitting .288 on the year, 6 home runs, 16 RBI. And a great bat in this lineup. Pretty much batting clean up the whole year. Renicky just let him do his thing there. He's a pro now. Got that big contract. He's in his 30s now. One of the premier shortstops in the American League, frankly. 1-0 to Bogarts. Taken just outside. Ball 2 now.
He was one of the 5 Red Sox to reach base against Ryu back on the home opener. Just a single, and he didn't get very far because it was the next batter that grounded into a double play. But he's seen Ryu a little bit throughout his career, and you'll see him a whole lot more now that he's in the American League East.
Should know, he's 27. I meant that contract will take him well into his 30s. And be interesting to see how he develops as that goes on. 6 years, $120 million. Signed that one, and that one actually the first year of this deal, in fact. Goes all the way to 2025, so Boston sure knows who their shortstop is. He'll be 33 when that deal is finished. So it kind of takes him right through his prime. This is in a full count now. A guy who in his first year in the Bigs, 2013, ended up winning a World Series in Boston. Grounds that one down the line. And that'll get past the third baseman, Guerrero Jr., for a leadoff single here in the second inning.
And that one down the line didn't have too much on it, so Gurriel able to get over there quickly. And the threat of Gurriel's arm alone keeps Bogarts over there at first. Gurriel, one of the strongest arms in the entire league out there, and one of the top American League outfielders in outfield assists last year.
Hey, Rafael Devers now batting 5th, playing third base. I mean, look at this Boston team. We're not going to see them for a little while here, not till July. But you look up and down this this lineup, it's pretty clear. Middle bats, really good. You got Martinez, Bogarts, Devers. Those are kind of your 3. You also got a guy like Benintendi, who can kind of work around, top or bottom of your lineup. You got Bradley Jr., same thing. But overall, these pieces, especially Devers, the way he hit last year, right? I mean, 32 home runs, 311 average, 115 RBI. If Boston wants to contend at all this year, which I don't think they will, they need him to replicate that or perhaps even improve on that, frankly.
And there's lots of time left for it, but I'm surprised we're seeing him in the 5-hole today instead of up in the 2-hole or something closer to that. Because Benintendi gets the day off, and they're shifting things around. Lefty on lefty, they're changing things up. But I'm surprised he's not a little higher up today.
As that one misses outside, so Devers walks. First 2 hitters now to start off the second reach.
The first baseman, Nick.
And now it'll bring up the second of 2 lefties back-to-back, Mitch Moreland. And now he's got a prime chance as he's quite a double play candidate. Doesn't run very well at all, but if he can get a ball up and maybe get it into the outfield grass, he's got a chance to drive in a run already and take an early lead in just the second inning.
Mitch Moreland steps in, takes strike 1. If you're Moreland here, what's the approach? Are you swinging for the fences as you normally would if you're Moreland, or are you taking a more small ball approach? Oh, there. Now we know the answer. As he drives that one into right, Hernandez there to make the play. 1 away. But why go with that approach there?
Well, I think we mentioned the threat of the double play, and that's something you want to avoid anytime you've got runners on first and second, especially with none out, because you can't really afford to kill a rally with just the swing of a bat. So try and elevate a ball, especially right there where you swing in 0-1 before you've got 2 strikes against you. When you're a power bat, I feel like the right play is to do what he did and try and sell out as much as you can to try and get every inch of power on that ball.
So we'll see what the DH Chavis gets up to here. Normally the second baseman, but today gets the day off of defense as Jose Peraza slots in at second once again. 1-1 to Chavis, taken low, ball 2. So for Ryu, I mean, we talked a little bit about his last start in Baltimore. What's the key, do you think, for him today to have more success?
Well, he was burned in Baltimore by the home run ball. It was 3 solo shots. So for him, it's going to be about really mixing speeds to keep hitters off balance. He does it effectively, usually with the fastball changeup. We saw home runs on fastballs that were left up in dangerous spots, so likely trying to establish the off-speed early and working on sustaining that balance throughout his start.
Full count to Chavis, 1 away, 2 on. Ryu deals. That one swung on, fouled off.
We talked about McHugh's pitch count getting up there. Well, how about Ryu? A quick first, but now he's really had to work in this second.
Sure has. Boston definitely changing their approach a little bit. I noticed in the first. Obviously different hitters. I think these hitters, Bogarts, Devers, Moreland, a little more challenging, as well as Chavis. But, Ryu getting ahead early in the first, not so much now. Allowing the first couple runners to reach, but Chavis strikes out. So 2 away now. 3 Ks for Ryu.
The catcher.
And here you see Ryu changing speeds, going with the curveball, and Chavis off balance, out in front of it. The curveball at the knees gets him to chase a little bit early, and that ball probably would have ended up in the zone, but it's the fact he has Chavis out in front looking for a fastball that he's able to retire him.
So Christian Vasquez slotting back in at catcher today. Got a day off yesterday. As he drives that one into deep left field, Gurriel Jr. ranges back, makes the play. So after allowing the first 2 hitters to reach, Ryu gets 3 straight outs and escapes the inning. We head to the bottom of the second, still scoreless on the virtual Jays Network.
Leading up for Toronto.
Welcome back. We'll see the first baseman, Travis Shaw. I mentioned earlier that Shaw was DHing. He DH'd yesterday, and Montoyo had previously mentioned that he may DH again today, but I guess we misread the lineup cards. He's in at first today. Tellez is the one DHing. Got those mixed up, so our apologies. But Shaw playing some defense today, and he had the day off yesterday, as I mentioned, playing defense. And at the plate, he went 2 for 4 and really started some important offense for the Blue Jays. In fact, it was one of the innings he led off, actually, that Bichette was able to drive in a couple runs. Way back in the second, he reached on a single, and Gurriel reached on a walk. A couple outs later, Bichette gets a 2-out, 2 RBI single down the line that scores the first 2 runs of the game. Later on, he reaches as well. So does Gurriel and Tellez. And the bottom of the lineup wasn't able to do anything with it, but the fact of the matter is, Shaw, very important yesterday in getting things rolling offensively for the Jays. See what he can do today, hitting 169.
And that's a nice change of pace for Shaw. You mentioned on the broadcast numerous times that it's really been boom or bust for him, whether he's getting those long balls or not doing much. So it's nice yesterday he was able to get a bit of the middle ground and start things well.
Doesn't start too well today. Strikeout swinging. That's McHugh's 3rd.
The left fielder, Lourdes.
And this is another curveball that leaves the zone but gets the swing and miss anyway. Similar to the curveball that Guerrero Jr. chased to end last inning. A little different because it's a lefty batter versus a righty batter, but Guerrero's also the curveball in the opposite hitter's batter's box that the hitters both expand the zone to try and chase that, and it doesn't work out for them.
So it'll be Gurriel Jr. at the plate. Back in left field today. As part of this starting Blue Jays outfield in Grichuk in center, Hernandez in right, Grichuk in left. Gurriel Jr. in left. Sorry, that's a mouthful. It's very clear that is Montoyo's outfield of preference early on in this season. As that one is ground over the second baseman, Peraza. He makes the play. 2 out now.
And Peraza's look good at second base from what we've seen so far from him. More of a steady player, not necessarily the flashiest. He doesn't run as much as he used to, doesn't hit for quite as much contact as he used to, but still a good presence near the top of the order. And we see him at second today with Chavis DHing. He's looked a lot better in the field than Chavis has, who's struggled so far.
As that one's going to third, Devers in the shift, unable to make the play. So, with 2 out, Rowdy Tellez is able to reach.
Well, that'll be an error against Devers. A ball that he was all over. He got right to it, but lost it a little bit in his feet. He reached down with his glove and couldn't quite pick it. The short hop bounced up on him, and he wasn't anticipating it quite well enough. A little bit of a challenging play as he's got to move his feet and try and pick the ball on the short hop, but a play that you got to make as a Major League third baseman, and now the Jays have an extra life here with a runner on for Teoscar Hernandez.
And whenever an error like that is made, you'll always get the excuse from somebody. Well, no, it was the turf. He's not used to the turf here. It's different grass. It's different, the ball bounces different here. No excuses for Devers there. He's spent enough time in Rogers Center at third. He knows the drill, especially considering this is their third game here. But nonetheless, an error there, so Tellez reaches. Hernandez quickly in the 0-2 count. Hernandez hitting just 200 on the year, so he's down in the 8-hole today. And, he better hope his defense holds up, because right now, Hernandez is a guy who stays in the major leagues mainly because of his bat. He's not exceptional defensively. But right now, his bat ain't doing much. 0 for 4 yesterday with 2 strikeouts. 1-2 to Teoscar, taken low, ball 2.
We saw his first real defensive lapse yesterday as Giles came in and he got an out, walked a batter. The third batter he faced hit a fly ball to right field that looked like it could have been caught, but Teoscar Hernandez has it bounce in his feet that led to a run scoring.
So he strikes out there. Tough going currently for Hernandez. And it'll be Bichette to lead off the next time the Blue Jays are up, but still scoreless here in Toronto. Welcome back. So we'll see Jockey Bradley Jr., normally the center fielder for the Red Sox. Today he's in right and free agent at the end of the year as he fouls that one off. And he is the 30-year-old. Got him and Bogarts mixed up. Came up around the same time, but Bradley Jr., yes, of course, an all-star, Gold Glover, former ALCS MVP. As he drives that one, second baseman Biggio deep at second, makes the play. So the leadoff hitter is retired. But, when it comes to this Red Sox outfield, as we take a look at the standings here quickly, we'll notice, yes, Toronto at 18 wins, and New York coming to town right there at 19.
Everyone's relatively close so far. Tampa down at 11-21. You got to expect that to change sometime soon. A really talented team. They've won 2 in a row, and they're up. They won a game earlier this afternoon 4-0 on the back of a Tyler Glasnow start. I'd count on them resurging, but everyone else, it's been pretty tight around the top middle of the American League East.
AL East, always an interesting division, right? Because they really only have one small market team in Tampa, and they're very competitive often because they're such a factory when it comes to development. Toronto can spend money. Boston and New York spend the most money often in the bigs. As that one's flowing out to center, Grichuk there decides to underhand it. A little risky, but makes the play. So 2 retired here. But always a fascinating division, and often very unpredictable. Although this year I think we probably know it'll be a dogfight between the Yankees and the Rays.
Well, the Yankees are already building quite a head start. 8.5 games ahead of Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay is going to have to make some hay soon to catch up.
Oh, and a diving effort from Gurriel Jr. there in foul territory. Can't make the grab, but a good effort in doing so. Zue Lin to the plate, struck out in the first. 0-2 here. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone is surprised with Tampa, especially with just looking at the way they played Toronto. I mean, they look excellent. As Lin strikes out, more on the AL East as well as the Red Sox outfield a bit later. Still scoreless here in Toronto. Welcome back. So we'll see Bo Bichette. And what a day shortstop had yesterday. His first home run of the year. And also 2 RBI back in the second, as I mentioned. Put up 4 runs, and the only 4 runs that the Jays scored all day. Going 2 for 3 in doing so. No wonder Bichette misses outside, so evens up the count at 1 here. Still hitting 165, but at least yesterday was a building block, because that one's hitting the center field, so a base hit to start off his day. Possibly heating up here is Bichette.
And that's the first hit for the Blue Jays. This third runner to reach base, there was a walk in the first from Grichuk, and then Tellez reached on an error, but the first true base hit comes from Bichette. And a nice stroke, hits that one right back up the middle where it came from into center for a single, and acts almost like a traditional leadoff hitter. I mean, you look at the top of the order from the first series, it was Bichette 1, Biggio 2. Well, Bichette reaches here from the 9-hole, and as the lineup turns over, it's almost exactly how Montoyo had hoped things would go from the first series of the year.
Well, he almost has to be the leadoff hitter the way Biggio has been playing this series, 0 for 9. And without Bichette, I mean, the Jays would have nobody getting on base right now. It feels weird to say, considering at the start of the year it was everyone but Bichette really getting on. Oh, how the turntables, I guess you could say. So that one's taken outside, ball 2. So 2 balls, 1 strike to Biggio, who is trying to get himself going here, trying to avoid going 0 for 10 in this series so far.
Bichette on first, the guy that can run a little bit if Montoyo wants to put something on here.
And considering the Jays only have 1 hit, we're already in the 3rd inning, nobody out. Could be time to spark some offense. We'll see what Montoyo does. As that one's taken low, so ball 4 is called. Now runners on first and second, nobody out for Danny Jansen here. Real opportunity for the Jays to get things going offensively.
And he struck out on a curveball down at the knees in his first plate appearance. But he had a few chances to hit pitches before that. He had a slider that was hung over the heart of the zone and challenged with a fastball earlier in the count. Maybe look for him to attack a bit faster here and swing on one of the first couple strikes he sees if he gets one.
Jansen 1 for 4 yesterday. Was thrown out running to third, trying to go first to third on a single from Vlad Guerrero Jr. But Zue Lin made a great throw from center. 2-0 to Jansen here. Hitters count. A great opportunity for the catcher. Checks his swing. We're going to call that a ball up high.
And the walks have been a problem for McHugh. We mentioned only 1 start, but in that start, just an inning and 2/3 where he walked 5 batters.
That one taken outside, so a 4-pitch walk to Jansen. The bases are loaded for Randal Grichuk, the home run man from Monday's game.
And back-to-back walks will do it for McHugh as he is lifted early here, just getting the first 6 outs, unable to retire anyone here in this 3rd inning.
So McHugh gets through 2+ innings here. And obviously we can't finish his line yet because we don't know how many runs will end up being scored. But Austin Bryce will come in and try to solve this issue.
And you mentioned it, all 3 runners on will be McHugh's runners to deal with on his line. But so Austin Bryce will try and do him a favor and strand all 3 if he can. In his last start, it was Perez and Darwinzon Hernandez that came to relieve him. Here it's Austin Bryce. And Bryce, not a guy that you expect to go more than 1 or 2 innings, so he's not here for the long haul as much as trying to get out of this jam and keep this game scoreless. Focusing specifically on this 3rd inning right now is Ron Renneke. And
specifically at the batter. I mean, you've got the number 3 hitter, one of the best hitters for the Jays this season, Grichuk at the plate. The bases loaded, nobody out here. In a game that, well, I think both teams really want to take, right? Both teams have a day off yesterday, so this one will sit in their brains a little longer. Good chance for the Jays here to get out in front. That one taken low. See that very aggressive curveball. Moves, some good movement on that off-speed pitch. 2-1. Grichuk walked in the first. Drives that one just foul past the 3rd base line. 2-2 now.
The most innings Bryce has worked is 3 innings in relief last year, but even that would only take them through the 5th.
As that one's driven foul. After this, Boston will head home to face Texas and the Angels, while Toronto, of course, after an off day, will host the Yankees. So both teams will be playing home games after this, as well as an off day. 2-2 to Grichuk. Taken outside, ball 3. So a full count to Grichuk with the slugger Guerrero Jr. on deck. The payoff fouled off.
And with that changeup being fouled off, he's now seen all 3 of Bryce's pitches. Now this will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat.
As Grichuk continues to battle here. Payoff pitch, 9 pitches in this at-bat. Bryce deals. That one's driven into deep left. And JD Martinez going back. He'll make the catch. Bichette is going to tag. And Biggio is going to tag as well, trying to head to 3rd. And he's safe. Whew.
Close play there at 3rd base. Bichette's going to have no problem coming in to score, but Biggio taking the chance to roll the dice. As soon as that ball was in the air, he darted back to tag up at 2nd base. JD Martinez not known in this, especially for his arm out there, but a great cut to the shortstop and relay to 3rd base just about gets Biggio, but a crafty slide gets him there just in time. So almost a double play turned by the Red Sox, but the Jays managed to avoid that.
So a sac fly by Grichuk scores the first run of the game. Blue Jays up 1-0 here. Guerrero Jr.'s bat broke there, so that one's foul. Guerrero Jr. 2 for 4 yesterday, a single and a double. As that one gets away from Vasquez. Base runners unable to really do anything there, so runners at the corners, 1 away. That one taken outside, missing, and this time runners will be able to advance. At least Jansen will be. So he advances to 2nd there on a wild pitch.
And command for these Red Sox pitchers have been all over the place. We saw McHugh walking 3 batters, and then Bryce comes in, throws a 3-ball count to Randall Grichuk, now wild pitch.
As that one's driven into shallow right. Bradley Jr. there to make the play, and Biggio can't tag.
And of the 3 outfielders today for the Red Sox, Bradley Jr. is far and away the best arm out there. He's got an absolute cannon, so that fly ball to right not only has to be quite deep to make it worth challenging Bradley Jr.'s arm, that fly ball that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit was too shallow to bring in anyone from anywhere.
Shaw drills that one into the gap. That'll get down and score a couple runs here. Bradley Jr. goes to field it. But look at this, a 2-out double for Shaw, scores a couple RBI. It's a 3-0 Toronto lead here.
Yesterday, we saw Travis Shaw score a run himself last night, and off the bat of Bichette. Here he gets involved with his own bat, driving in 2 runs, and that's a huge double, coming up with 2 outs already in the inning. He needed a hit to drive in a run, and he says, "Nah, I'll drive in 2. That double finds the gap, and Jansen's able to score all the way from second base.
And we talked a little bit earlier, Drew, about how, the Jays in the last 2 games have scored all the runs off of a single person's bat. Today, we see a little more of a divide, right? Bichette, Biggio, and Jansen all reach to start off the inning. Grichuk gets a sac fly. Again, generating offense, more of a small ball mentality. And then Shaw comes up huge with a 2-out double. A little more balanced offense today, especially through the bottom to middle portion of the lineup. As Gurriel Jr. strikes out swinging to end this inning, Bryce is able to escape, but not before 3 runs are scored by the Blue Jays on just 2 hits needed. We have a lead. Blue Jays 3-0 on the VJN. See J.D. Martinez step up here, 0 for 1 on the day, grounded out to first in the first. Ryu looking very effective in the last inning, 3 up, 3 down with a strikeout to end it. Now 4 Ks on the day for the left-hander. Starts off with the ball to J.D.
And now he comes to the mound with 3 runs of insurance that he didn't have. Last time it's still scoreless when he was out on the mound. Those 3 runs go a long way to helping him not only worry less about each individual pitch, but try and settle down.
As that one's driven into deep right field, Grichuk calls Hernandez off and gets over there to make the play in the gap, 1 away.
And it's still quite early, just starting off this 4th inning now, but Ryu, who's looked pretty good so far tonight, has looked good on the whole all season long. I mean, he gave up 3 runs in his last start, but he's only given up more than 3 just once in Philadelphia, where they attacked him early on. So far, it looks like he's locked in, and those 3 runs might be all that he needs so far tonight.
So Bogart steps to the plate. He's 1 for 10. His first hit of the series came to lead off the 2nd inning. Takes low for ball 1. You mentioned the run support Ryu has now. Very important, obviously, for your ace. Now he could just go out and do his business. And he's looked rather cool, calm, and collected so far. Especially at the gate, looks like he has much better command than he did in Baltimore. 2-2 now. 53 pitches on the day for Ryu, as that one's fouled off. Comes back with the low fastball, and he gets Bogarts to strike out. Now 5 Ks on the day for Ryu.
And he sets down Bogarts, who was the first batter for the Red Sox to reach back in the 2nd inning. Here he retires him with the strikeout. And Ryu, not necessarily the biggest strikeout artist in the league. The most he's got this season has been 8 so far. He's already got 5, and he's only in the 4th inning.
Some good sequencing by Ryu and Jansen there. Off speed outside, fouled off, and he comes back with a fastball low and inside. Changes the eye line. Bogarts really struggling in this series, now 1 for 11. As Devers swings and misses. Deep cut. It's 0-2 here.
Devers was someone he fell behind and walked in his first at-bat. Here he's pitching with more confidence and attacking in 2 quick strikes.
That one taken outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the third baseman Devers, who walked in the second. Going to get something here with 2 away. That one's grounded over the third base side. Bichette actually fields it past a diving Guerrero Jr. The play is made, so some good defense. These young Blue Jays as we head to the bottom of the 4th. Ryu has retired 9 straight on the virtual Jays network. So as Rowdy Tellez comes to the plate now, he reached back in the second on an error by Rafael Devers. Talking about Collin McHugh's day, I mean, yes, he only went 2 innings plus and ultimately had 3 runs counted against him. But only, 1 hit allowed and really good job of, I think the issue today was the walks. 3 walks on the day for McHugh.
It was, and it was the walks that led to Ron Renick seeing something that deemed him being ready to be removed from the game, because just the 1 hit allowed was the single to Bichette up the middle. Other than that, we saw a runner reach on an error, but it was just the walks. And you said it earlier on that both of these teams do have an off day tomorrow, which means if Renick feels he'd be better off winning this game by going to the bullpen for the long haul, he has that option.
So Moreland ranges over to his right. First baseman makes the play to the pitcher Bryce at the bag. So Tellez is retired. You'd say Oscar Hernandez now 4 home runs on the year, yes, but also hitting 198 now. His average dipping below 200. The strikeout back in the second. Seeing a very heavy shift against Hernandez here. Not too surprising, but a nice couple big gaps for a guy who's been struggling to get on base. A good opportunity here, I guess you could say.
And Hernandez struck out earlier on. He was 1 of 4 strikeout victims to McHugh. He gets just the 1 at-bat against his former teammate. They played together, of course, on the Houston Astros, but McHugh pulled too early before Hernandez really gets to see much of him at all today.
2-1 to Hernandez, swung on, and that one will just ground foul. And this Blue Jays outfield, I wouldn't say it's set in stone. I think there's still opportunity for other guys to break through. And, with the way Teoscar's struggling, we've seen Montoyo give guys a chance. You look at the man on deck right now, Bo Bichette. He's got an opportunity to stick in the lineup, but Jays also don't have a ton of depth at shortstop the way they kind of do in the outfield. Payoff to Hernandez. Grounded foul. As the season goes on, could we see a real shift, pardon the pun, in this Blue Jays outfield in terms of maybe if Hernandez can't figure things out?
Well, we saw him spend 20 games down in Buffalo last year. Even though he made the team and showed some good success in 2017, he was spending time in AAA Buffalo, both 2018 and 2019, that if they really feel it necessary to retool his swing, that option is available.
And he gets a base hit here with 1 away. Good use of that wide open part where normally the second baseman would be, but because of the shift, not so much.
And you really foreshadowed that as he came up to the bat. A lot of times you don't see hitters try and poke it through the shift, but a good approach by Teoscar Hernandez, whether that was intentional or not. Late in the at-bat, just trying to get something through the other side, reach base to help what's been a struggling average for him so far.
1-1 now to Bichette, who singled back in the third. As Hernandez tries to steal, and he's going to get there in time. A good jump by the right fielder.
And the swing and miss from Bichette makes you wonder if maybe there was a bit of a hit-and-run play on Either way, Teoscar Hernandez has the speed that a lot of people don't necessarily know or respect. And a high throw from Vasquez. If the throw was on, they might have been able to get him, but he gets in there safely.
So Bichette strikes out swinging, now 2 away with the runner in scoring position.
The batter, number 8, second baseman.
And he expands the zone quite a bit to chase this curveball out on the outer half of the plate, well outside the zone. So Bichette goes down swinging. And now the lineup turns over with 2 outs for Biggio.
It'll be Darwinson Hernandez. We'll see once again for his 16th appearance of the season.
And he went multiple innings in his last time out against the Jays, or tried to at the very least. He pitched a clean 8th in Fenway Park, came out to pitch the 9th, and gave up a solo home run to Reese McGuire on the very first batter faced. And that ended up giving him the loss in that game. But beyond that outing, he's looked good so far. And as I mentioned, even in that outing, he pitched a clean 8th, but just pushed a little too far, couldn't get McGuire, and that ended up costing them that game.
What a moment that was, that absolute moonshot into the night sky in Boston. Right around Pesky's pole. Big shot for a young team and a young player in McGuire. I'm sure that felt amazing, especially trying to earn his way in this lineup. So 1-2 to Biggio after that foul ball. He walked in the 3rd and grounded out to 3rd in the 1st. So 0 for 1. 1-2. Taken for strike 3, called outside. Biggio doesn't love the call. Neither do the Blue Jays or the fans here at Rogers Center. But we're through 4 on the virtual Jays Network. Welcome back to Toronto, Virtual Jays Network. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jackson Farough. I'm joined by Drew Frank. And if you're just joining us, well, it's a 3-0 game for the Blue Jays. They lead in this 3rd game of this series. Both teams have taken a game, but the Jays in this one up 3-0 off of sac fly by Grichuk scored the first run back in the 3rd, and then Guerrero Jr. flew out, but Travis Shaw gets himself a 2-out double into the gap, drove home a couple RBIs. So 3-0 game, all runs scored in the 3rd. And now here we are, Hyun-Jin Ryu working pretty efficiently here. He's retired his last 9 batters, struggled a little bit in the 2nd. Other than that, the coast has been clear. As that one is grounded slowly down the left field line. Nobody there to get it. Now Gurriel does, but not before Mitch Moreland gets himself a leadoff double.
And there's, as you mentioned, nobody all the way down that line. Gurriel gets there quickly, and he led the MLB in outfield assists by a left fielder in 2019. And you can see that arm showing off there. A strong throw in. I was thinking Moreland might stay at first. He challenges for a second, and it's a close play, but he's in there. So it's a double. And now the Red Sox have a chance to manufacture something with the bottom of the order.
Runner at second, nobody out for Chavis, who struck out in the 2nd, hitting just 120 with runners in scoring position. Good chance here for the bottom of this lineup to start something, much like the Blue Jays did in the 3rd. Now started with a Bichette leadoff single. Good test for Ryu here now in the 5th. He only got through 5 in Baltimore, and he was cruising heading into this inning. As I mentioned, 9 straight retired. Now with that leadoff double, let's see what he gets up to against the bottom part of this lineup. Behind Chavis now 3-1. That one driven into left field. It's going to be a base hit. Gurriel Jr. fields and throws quickly in there to ensure Moreland can't come around to score or even attempt to come around and score. He'll stay at third.
And now it'll be a test for the Red Sox because prior to this inning, it was only the 3-4 hitters of Bogaerts and Devers that had reached base. So now they break the trend here, and it'll be on some more guys that are yet to reach. I mean, even as this lineup turns over, the 1-2 guys, or 1-2-3 haven't reached, in addition to the fact that Vasquez and Bradley Jr. were retired in order as well. So they're going to have to turn things around to try and do something there.
As he gets that one in there for a strike. One strike, one ball to Vasquez, the catcher. As that changeup misses low. So we're seeing Ryu fall behind these hitters here. Fell behind Chavis. Now he's falling behind Vasquez. 3-1. So that one misses low. Vasquez, 23 home runs and 72 RBI last year. He might have another RBI here as that one's flown out to left. Moreland unable to tag. What a great throw in from Gurriel Jr. there. He's had a couple now in this inning alone.
And that ball you'd think would be deep enough for certain runners and certain left fielders, but in this situation, Mitch Moreland not necessarily a burner over there at third base, so he has to stay put. And yeah, as you mentioned, nice fundamental play there by Gurriel to field and quickly get that in to keep everyone where they are.
So it'll be Bradley Jr. grounded out to second in the third. Once again, Ryu falling behind here at ball one. As that one's fouled off. So we're seeing Ryu's pitch count creep higher and higher. This will be his 74th pitch coming up now in the fifth inning. So as Blue Jays bullpen work rather hard yesterday. After Thornton only went 5 innings, Font came in for a couple. And then we saw, of course, Bass and then Giles for a few, but couldn't get the save. As Montoya took him out with 2 outs. Brought in Romano instead for the save, despite Giles being on the verge of history. 2-2 to Bradley Jr. That one is flown into center field. Grichuk's going to run up and make the play. Moreland going to attempt to steal or tag and come home here. Jansen gets it, and he misses the tag. So the throw is off to the right by Grichuk. Moreland, a heads-up play to try to score from third, tagging, and he does it. 3-1 here now.
Well, that'll be a sacrifice fly, but that was a bang-bang play at the plate. If that throw is anywhere near where the plate itself is, you'd think Moreland would be burned there, but he manages to come in and score and risks it more now that there's 2 outs than he did with Gurriel's fly ball. That first fly ball with just the furthest out of the inning, you still hope that you'd get a better opportunity. Here he pushes it and his luck pays off as that throw is wide, but a great effort by Danny Jansen to try and apply the tag, just is not able.
Surprised he decided to go there, like you said, with 2 out and kind of shallow center. But Grichuk, obviously not the best arm in that outfield. Probably the 3rd best arm, I'd say, behind Gurriel and Hernandez. But throws off. I honestly thought Jansen might have gotten the tag there. It was close, and he had a chance. Turns around, just misses the tag as Moreland was just slipping by him. But a close play, so it's 3-1 now. 2-out runner at first for Peraza. Grounds that one over to the shortstop, Bichette. Now a run to the second base to get the force out. So, sac fly to center from Bradley Jr. Scores a run for the Red Sox. There on the board, it's a 3-1 game. So we head to the bottom of the 5th here in Toronto.
Leading up for
Welcome back to Toronto. It'll be Danny Jansen stepping in here. He walked in his last appearance of the third. Came around to score on a Travis Shaw 2 RBI double in that inning. So it's a 3-1 game. Hernandez back in here as that one's popped up. Third base side. Devers has a read on it. Couple steps to his right, makes the catch, one away.
And as Darwinzon Hernandez continues here, we saw him last inning come in to get Biggio, pitched to just one batter, and was able to strike him out by painting a breaking ball on the outer half of the plate. Biggio took it and was struck out looking there, but he has the potential to go at least a few innings. We saw him before, as I mentioned, in multiple innings. The longest he's gone was 3 in 2019. This is just his second season in the bigs. But of course, as early as it is that the starter had to be pulled, the bullpen continues to work for Boston.
Hembree and Brazier getting loose. Couple righties here. You just saw Jansen the righty. Now it's Grichuk Guerrero Jr. One count to Grichuk, who had a sac fly. Drove home a run back in the third. One-two to the center field. Taken on the black, right at the bottom part of the zone. 4 strike 3.
And quick work there for Darwinzon Hernandez to set him up on the inner half and then just freeze him with a fastball that I'm not sure. Grichuk might have a case that that's both low and outside, but it hits both corners, gets the call, and he's retired.
We see Hernandez catching corners of the zone here. A couple different instances against Biggio and now against Grichuk. The 1-0 to Guerrero Jr. He's over 2. 2 out. Hernandez the lefty has a chance here to get through kind of the heart of this order. 2, 3, 4 hitters who are all righties, oddly enough. 1-1 is driven foul. Guerrero Jr. hits pretty well against Boston. And struggling a little bit today, but yesterday 2 for 4, as I mentioned earlier.
He's gotten a hit against every game he's played against Boston so far this season, at least 1 hit.
As that one's driven into deep right, Bradley Jr. there to make the play. So 3 up, 3 down for Hernandez. He's retired all 4 batters he's faced in this game. As we head to the 6th inning, Blue Jays lead 3-1 here in Toronto. Welcome back to Toronto, Virtual Jays Network. It's 3-1 Blue Jays. Thank you for joining us. My name is Jackson Farough. I'm joined by Drew Frank in the booth as Ryu comes back out now for his 6th inning of work. Last inning ran into some trouble. Allowed a double and a single to Moreland and Chavis respectively to kick things off. Bradley Jr. gets himself a sac fly to center and a missed throw by Grichuk. Were you able to escape from some trouble by allowing just 1 run? And so far, it's a much better start than his last one in Baltimore, in which he allowed 3 home runs all solo and was only able to get through 5. As that one sounded good off the bat into right. Hernandez with a diving play stops it, but can't make the catch. Lynn with a leadoff double here.
And quick trouble. That'll be ruled a double, of course. Teoscar Hernandez makes a Herculean effort to try and haul that one in. A jumping, diving effort, but manages to get a piece of it. Oftentimes you see troubles happen when you go all out for the dive and the ball trickles into the corner. Here at least he keeps in front of him and it's only a double.
And if that one got past him, the way Lynn was running, could have possibly been 3, depending on where that ball goes. But JD Martinez comes to the plate now with a runner in scoring position and nobody out. As that one's driven into left field, Gurriel Jr. goes to field it off the wall, but Lynn comes in to score. It's a 1-run game here.
And it's been back-to-back starts on the road trip for Ryu, where he hasn't been able to get through the 6th inning. So now we see some trouble here as he tries to change that and get out of this, but now it's just a 1-run game with the tying run on base.
So that one's driven foul. Some hard contact now for the Red Sox here. Martinez's 3rd hit of the series. 3 singles now for him. And a pretty big one. Gets an RBI and cuts the deficit to just 1 here. Still nobody out. Bogaerts takes low, ball 1.
Now that's 2 of 3 singles from Martinez that were hit hard to right field, even if they were just for a single base, just lacing them.
Bogaerts in a 1-2 count. Ryu looking to get his first out of the inning still. Gets it. Looking there. Paints the bottom part of the zone for his 6th strikeout.
And he changes speeds to slow it down. Looks like the changeup there right at the knees. You can see in our replay that is right at the fringe of the bottom of the zone. Call probably could have gone either way, but he gets the call. Pitcher friendly, and the strikeout for Bogaerts will end his day as Montoyo comes out to the mound.
So Ryu just goes 5 1/3, allowing at least 2 runs. Of course, the book isn't closed yet on his day. And that'll bring in Wilmer Font for a 2nd straight day here.
Number 63.
And Font still has the streak going. Yesterday, he was able to keep his streak of scoreless innings going. Giles was not, which means Font, one of the last relievers in this pen that remains perfect. And a pretty big spot. It's still relatively early in the game, but a big bat at the plate and the tying run already on base.
As Devers dishes that high pitch, first offering he sees from Font into deep right. Hernandez there to make the play.
And the book on Font must be that he throws first pitch strikes, because if you notice, the hit and run was on that play. That fastball was lifted to right field, but JD Martinez was off with the pitch. So a good call by Renicky, because he did get a good pitch to hit and a good pitch for a hit and run, but wasn't able to do anything with it.
Trying to jump on Font early here, especially with the way Font's been dealing to start the season. No runs allowed yet. And I think this is really where the Jays' lack of lefties comes into play. You've got, you take your starter out with 2 lefties coming up in Devers and Moreland. You got to bring in the righty because, well, he's the best option, I suppose. But I think if they had more lefties, you could bring in one of them to finish off this inning. But hey, it seems to be working so far for Font. He's got 1 out. He's trying to get the 2nd here. 2-1 to the first baseman, Moreland. Taken just inside. 4-3. Good take.
A great take, because now you know he has to come to you. Moreland's patient enough to know what's in the zone is good for hitting.
3-1 taken just inside. Or rather, just inside of the zone. A good pitch from Font gets him back in the count. Payoff. Driven into left center field. Grichuk ranging over, slides, and makes the play. So Grichuk makes a good play in center and helps Font finish off this inning. As we head to the bottom of the 6th, it's now a 3-2 Blue Jays lead as the Red Sox add an additional run here. Welcome back to Toronto. We'll see Darwinzon Hernandez head out now. Retired 4 straight batters. Now he gets a lefty here in Travis Shaw. 1 for 2 in the day. That big double scored a couple RBI. Could use some more magic from Shaw, as now the Blue Jays are up just 1 run after the Red Sox scored in the last half inning.
And Hernandez will get at least one more assignment here in Shaw. But with Gurriel on deck, a guy that has much better splits against lefties than righties, wouldn't be surprised to see Brenneke go to the pen after Shaw here, no matter what happens.
Starts off with 2 balls. So hitters count to the first baseman, Shaw. Drives that one foul.
When it comes to a late inning chess match between managers, this game's poised to be one of the better ones. You got an off day tomorrow, it's a rubber match, and both pitchers out early enough that it really will be the battle of the bullpens and creative use of the bench that'll decide this game. Both teams want to win the series. They've got an off day tomorrow. They can afford to do whatever they got to do with their bullpen to pull it out.
We've seen lots of bullpen action in this series, and I think Montoya is pretty comfortable in that kind of battle, if it is in fact a bullpen battle, which it is, because bullpen's been excellent for the Jays. Font's been great. Giles, Bass, Romano, they've all been excellent. Of course, some controversy yesterday with what happened with Giles. Shaw walks, so that'll bring up Gurriel Jr.
And it will be Darwinzon Hernandez staying in to fight off Gurriel. He wasn't able. He faced. It was Austin Bryce that faced him in his last at-bat, and he got him to swing on a curveball down in the dirt to strand Shaw on second base. Here Shaw's on first base, and it's a different situation with none out. Gurriel trying to keep the train moving here.
Taken inside the zone for strike 1. Gurriel 5 doubles, ranks him 3rd on the Blue Jays currently. Could use one right about now with the runner on first and up just 1. One ball, 1 strike to the left fielder. As Vasquez gets a good block there, throws it back to first for a precaution. So off a wild pitch, we'll see now. Or off a wild pitch that Vasquez was able to contain. We'll see what they have in store now for Gurriel's. It's a 3-1 count. Runner on first. Hernandez in some trouble potentially here. Good chance for these Blue Jays to strike. Gurriel on a 3-1 count. Taken right up the middle. That changeup got quite high in the zone. It looked juicy, but Gurriel takes. Full count now. The payoff is driven foul into the seats.
In the first real battle that Hernandez has faced, he retired the first 4 quickly before the walk to Shaw, and now Gurriel's really testing him.
Here's his 27th pitch. That one's grounded past the second baseman Peraza for a base hit. So runners on first and second, nobody out for the DH Tellez now. Let's take a look.
He pokes this one through the right sides. Of course, Peraza has to play in double play defense a little closer to second base, which means he can get to the bag to flip it if he has to. Here, Gurriel abuses that and reaches with a single.
So Renneke leaves Hernandez in now to face the lefty Tellez and try to work his way out of his own little jam here. Once again, we're seeing the middle to bottom part of this lineup get on and be productive for the Jays today. We saw it yesterday. One to Tellez. Swung on, grounded to the second baseman Peraza. Goes to 2 for 1. Back to first for 2. Lots of numbers there, but the Red Sox get themselves a 4-6-3 double play, and Shaw is able to advance to third.
and this ball was hit rather slowly on the ground. Farough had to come charging in for it, but they know that Tellez is running on first base. They had some time, and they took it and made it nicely executed.
So Ryan Brazier comes in now after the double play with 2 out to face Teoscar Hernandez, who singled in the 4th, also stole a base.
And after Bryce and Hernandez, who are more long relief guys, you can throw Martin Perez in that group as well. Brazier's the first real piece of the back end of the bullpen approach from Boston here as they get serious now in the 6th inning. This game, an important run on third base as they trail only by 1. And Brazier, who's assigned often in the 7th and 8th inning, comes in here with the task of retiring Teoscar Hernandez here and getting out of this.
As that one's sprayed foul. 1-1 count to Hernandez. They'll be looking to potentially do exactly what he did last time up, Hernandez, in which he singled right past the second baseman, Peraza. As the Red Sox were shifted against him, similar to the way they are now, that big hole where normally Peraza would be playing at second without the shift. And that would drive in a run, a much needed one for the Jays. We're only up by 1 here. So 3 balls, 1 strike to the right fielder, Hernandez. Getting ahead in the count, and he swings and misses on that 4-seam right up the middle. Full count now.
That was middle at 97. A challenge for Teoscar Hernandez right there. He's given the heat. Can you hit it? And in that case, he could not.
Payoff, 2 away to Hernandez. Swung on and missed on the off speed. Some good sequencing by Brazier fools Hernandez. Still 3-2 Toronto here as we head to the 7th on the virtual Jays Network. So it'll be Michael Chavis, the DH, stepping in as we see the Blue Jays bullpen get to work. Bass and Pannone both getting loose. But Wilmer Font will try to replicate what he did yesterday, in which Trent Thornton, the starter for the Jays, only went 5. So Font comes in, gets through the 6th and the 7th, and bridges the gap to the back end of the Jays bullpen. Bass and normally Giles. As that one's flown into foul territory, Shaw makes the play. 1 away.
And no easy play for Shaw there. He runs into foul territory and catches that one over his shoulder. Font appreciates that as quickly he gets the first out now. Third batter, he's retired. He got Devers and Moreland last inning. Here he's got 7, 8, 9 assigned, and he makes quick work of the 7-hitter Chavis.
You see that Blue Jays bullpen once again, and you know, yesterday was a very eventful end of the game. The Blue Jays won 4-3, but normally we would see Giles just stay in the 9th and work his way to try to get that save. He's perfect in save opportunities this year. As that one's flown to center, past the diving Bichette. Not sure why he was all the way back there. Grichuk didn't just call it, but regardless, the runner reaches.
And this one drops in. Vasquez, I'm sure, is a little confused as well, but he'll take the base hit. As that one, you'd think, yeah, Grichuk would call him off, but that one drops in and Font's day is over.
So Thomas Pannone, the lefty, will come in now to face Bradley Jr. And also a lefty in Lynn in the 2-hole coming up. So makes sense for Montoya to bring in Pannone here. But back to Giles, 14 for 14 heading into yesterday, and 1 more save will give him the most saves ever before May 1st. The current record is Kirby Yates, who set it last year with the Padres, 14 saves before May 1st. That's where Giles is at currently. He had the chance yesterday, had 2 outs. Montoya takes him out. Romano gets the save. And so today is the last chance for Giles to beat that record. If he would get a save today, he would do that. So we'll keep an eye on that as this game moves forward. 0-2 to Bradley Jr. See if Pannone can do his part, trying to get the Jays to that milestone. That one taken, check swing, so ball 1, 2 strikes. Double play in order, potentially, as that one misses high, 2-2.
Bradley Jr. yet to reach base, but had a big sac fly in the 5th that drove in the first run.
Two-two. Number 9 hitter Bradley Jr. That one swung, grounded over the shortstop Bichette. To second for 1, to first, completes the double play. A well-executed double play by the young Blue Jays. And we stretch in Toronto, and the Blue Jays still lead 3-2.
And it's Brandon Workman, someone we haven't seen very often at all because the Jays have had the lead late in a lot of these games. The Jays winning 7 of the first 9 games against Boston. So here we see Workman, the setup man who actually started the year as a closer. He's a hard-throwing right-hander that's got a very effective curveball. He uses it almost more than his fastball, right about a 1A and 1B type pitch. It's fastball, curveball, curveball, fastball. And he mixes it up occasionally with a cutter, but more of a 2-pitch pitcher that has so much break that he can be effective with just the use of those 2 pitches alone.
So Workman getting in some action today, as you mentioned. Not having to do too much because he's the setup man, or at least part of the high leverage back end of this bullpen for the Red Sox. Been there for a long time now, and couple World Series under his belt. Gotta love that last name too. He sure works, man. 2-1 to Bichette, taken for ball 3.
And we've seen a lot of 3-ball counts from these Red Sox pitchers today. The Jays have been very patient, taking a lot of pitches to really get deep in the count and force these pitchers to throw strikes because early on they haven't for the most part.
Full count to Bichette, who singled in the 3rd. Taken up in the zone for strike 3. So Bichette strikes out looking.
And it's the use of the fastball and curveball together that set each other up. That was the cutter on the outer half that was breaking a little bit away but caught the outer edge of the plate. If Bichette read that spin as a curveball, then he was expecting that to drop off the table. But instead, the curveball hangs up right where it is and catches the outer half, freezes them, and gets the first out quickly.
One out to Biggio. Taken just inside for ball number 2. Biggio struggling again today. He walked in the 3rd, but still 0 for 2. His average now in the 170s. So, you know, as we get a day off tomorrow and we head into the Yankees series, what do you see Montoyo doing with a guy like Biggio, who at the moment is struggling at the plate?
Well, they've got the day off tomorrow to really think and figure something out. He runs the same lineup out on back-to-back nights here, last night and tonight, with Biggio at the top, Bichette at the bottom. Bichette's hit and Biggio hasn't, so it'll be interesting to see what him and his bench coach and fellow staff members decide to do, as they've got the Yankees, who have been hot as of late, coming up next.
You wonder maybe if we see Joe panic. We didn't see him in this series. Perhaps we do next. Didn't see Tejada either. Is that one sprayed into left? And what a play by JD Martinez. Doesn't play a lot of outfield this year, but he runs all the way over there into the shift and makes the play as Biggio got a little too much underneath that one.
And that ball, and it was sprayed over the left field. There was no one in sight, but hangs up long enough that Martinez can track that one down.
So as opposed to having a runner at second or even third with one out for Jansen, it is 2 out, nobody on. Huge play by Martinez defensively there. 1-1 count now. Jansen 0 for 2 with a walk as well. Swung on and missed on that knuckle curve. Whew. Got him to swing early on that. Gets ahead now 1-2. That was taken low, even up the count. Steady dosage of off speed to Jansen, and it pays off. A strikeout, his second on the day swinging. So 3 up, 3 down for Workman as we head to the 8th here in Toronto. It's still a Blue Jays lead.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please.
So it'll be the setup man for the Blue Jays. No surprise here. It's Anthony Bass.
And Bass has continued to look excellent. We saw him here yesterday. He pitched a clean inning, walked just one batter. He came in the 8th inning as he usually does. He walked Zue Lin, who he saw batting 9th. Sorry, correct that. He walked Rafael Devers back in that 8th inning and struck out Bogarts, Moreland, and got Pilar the ground out for a quick 4 up, 3 down inning. Here he's got the top of the order as it's 1-2-3 with Peraza, Lin, and the big bat, JD Martinez.
See the closer Ken Giles warming, as we've said numerous times over the last couple of days, on the verge of history. And yesterday, taken out with 2 away, so he couldn't get the save, couldn't break that Major League record of the most saves before May 1st that he currently could. Only 2 more games left to do it at the time, last night and tonight. Montoya's reasoning didn't really give one. No injury, that's all he really said. Simply a managerial decision, and the club didn't release much other than that. And no word from Giles either, so still left in the dark a little bit. Clearly something to do, managerial decision in the clubhouse, whatever it is. Regardless, Bass gets Peraza out swinging. So we've seen once again, Drew, this Blue Jays bullpen really doing a good job of bridging that gap where the starter only goes 5 1/3. Your ace, in fact, Ryu, but Font comes in, gets you through the 6th and the 7th. And now Bass, your setup, and then, of course, Giles, your incredible closer.
And they've done it time and time again, but you got to wonder when you're relying on, say, 3 or 4 arms out of the bullpen, like Font, Yamaguchi, sometimes a guy like Romano or some other arms to give you multiple innings. I mean, all it takes is one of them to have a bad day, and there goes your whole ball game down the drain. I mean, Font trusted for multiple innings. If he gave up back-to-back-to-back hits to start off his day and couldn't get out of it, there goes tonight's game. So long term, you got to think that this model isn't going to be overly sustainable unless those bullpen arms turn out to be true stars, because you need some more length from your pitchers, and one of the reasons the Jays' record has been so successful despite the run differential has been the bullpen standing out.
Yeah, they just kind of get a lead like this. A close one. We've seen it against Boston a ton. And the bullpen just comes in, does their thing. But like you said, you're not sustainable long term. You need more from your starters. As Lin strikes out. So back-to-back Ks for Bass here, now 2 away.
And he strikes out both batters he faces. There you see Lin almost on the fastball, just a little bit on top as he tries to go down and chase it. So back-to-back strikeouts swinging, but here comes the real test. It's JD Martinez.
Takes the inside part of the plate for strike one. Yeah, the real test, as you mentioned. 1 for 3 in the day. A single drove in a run, which cut this deficit to just 1 now for the Red Sox. And with Bass and Giles being so consistent in the back end of this bullpen, it gives Charlie Montoya a lot of options. And I think that's so beneficial where you've gotten now some great outings from Font as well, right? And Miller. Miller's been pretty good as well. So lots of options, lots of flexibility. Most of all, it's been stable so far. Strike 2 as Martinez swings.
Martinez 0 for 3 in his career against Bass, including a strikeout in the 4th game of the season where Bass got him as the first out as part of a 4-out save.
2-2, fouled off. Bass looking to retire the side. Potentially on strikes. He's got 2. He's got 2 strikes now on Martinez. As that one is taken just outside. Now a full count, 2 out. The number 3 hitter, Martinez. The payoff. Swung on into deep center field. Grichuk gets underneath it, makes the play. It's a 3 up, 3 down for Bass in the 8th. And the stage is set for some history. But first, the Blue Jays are up next at bat on the virtual Jays Network.
Your attention, please. Now,
So here comes Heath Hembree. We saw him in both of the first 2 games of this series. He pitched just 1 inning yesterday, walking a batter, striking out a batter. He pitched a clean inning in game 1, also picking up a strikeout. And he's someone that the Jays have seen quite a bit already this season and haven't been able to get to yet.
Seen lots of arms used for Boston today. We've seen Bryce, we've seen Hernandez, now we see Hembree. Of course, we saw Workman as well.
And they do have the off day tomorrow to rest all these arms, but you wonder what you're going to get from Hembree as a bit of an older arm that now you're pushing for 3 days in a row. And not just against anybody, against the 3-4-5 here, the real heart of this Blue Jays order.
And a lefty in Shaw, the 3rd hitter in that order as well as you mentioned, or the number 5 hitter in that order as you mentioned. Swung on and missed, so 1-2 count to Grichuk here. Yeah, this Blue Jays or this Red Sox bullpen getting a little taxed. So even if they do tie things up and we go to extras, or if things go south in this inning, they could be in some real trouble here. Swung on and missed. Grichuk gets the strikeout. Maybe not, the way Hembree looks so far.
Well, that'll happen anytime your starting pitcher doesn't go more than 2 innings. All that's left in the pen is the setup man Josh Taylor and the closer Matt Barnes. The other guy is Martin Perez, just the 3 of them left. And Perez, he's been used quite a bit. You've got to figure he's unavailable. He pitched 2 innings on Monday night, 2 more innings yesterday. And you'd think they'd have to be real brave to test him further and see how much his arm can go to bear any more weight on him tonight.
Guerrero Jr. 0 for 3. Starts off with a 2-0 count. A couple flyouts to right as well as a K. So a quiet day for Jr. His first in a while. Went 2 for 4 yesterday. Now we see Red Sox setup man Josh Taylor just getting loose, just in case.
And nobody behind him at all. Barron in the dugout as it's quite depleted back in that bullpen.
So that one misses outside, so a 3-1 count to the third baseman.
We mentioned he's had a hit in every game of the season against Boston. 0 for 3 so far. So this might be his last at-bat to try and keep that going.
So that one's driven in the left. Martinez there to make the play. 2 down now.
And so doesn't look like Guerrero will be able to keep that going. That hot streak against Boston. And it hasn't just been the consistency with reaching base and getting those singles and base hits. We mentioned he had 2 big home runs against them in Fenway Park, and I'm sure he's disappointed that they won't be seeing this pitching staff until July.
Yeah, you're right about that. I think a lot of these hitters will. Especially if they can finish this one off and end up going 8-2 against Boston to start the season. They were 6-1 coming into the series. They've split the series so far, so yeah, 7-2. And if they win today, it'll be 8-2 on the year against the Red Sox. Pretty good, considering the way that we were talking kind of at the start of the year. This looked like a Red Sox team that could do something. The way that lineup looked, or their rotation a little bit in shambles, but you certainly didn't expect the Jays to be 7-2 against them at this point.
And if you want to stay competitive in this divisional format, you really got to. I mean, you face your rivals 19 times a year.
That one's grounded to first. And the play is made by Moreland, so we will head now to the 9th. Once again, closing time, a chance for history for Ken Giles. We'll see if it happens on the virtual Jays Network coming up next.
Your attention, please.
So here we go. Ken Giles enters the game. You see his ERA for the first time not at 0.64 after allowing a run yesterday. Now, he came in with a 2-run lead, allowed a run, and Montoya took him out. On the verge of history, he was 2 away. Just to reiterate, 14 saves. He's tied the record for the most saves in Major League Baseball history before May 1st. Current record, well, tied by Giles, as I mentioned, but Kirby Yates set it last year with 14 before May 1st with the Padres. So Giles on the verge of beating that record. If he gets it today, remember, it's his last game before May 1st. So this is his last opportunity to do so. 2-0 to Bogaerts. Also, the Jays record for most saves in a month is 11. Billy Koch, back in July 99, had 11. Ken Giles is currently at 10. So if he gets a save today, he would tie the Jays record for most saves in a month, as well as have the most saves in Major League Baseball history before May 1st. Let's see if he can do it. As Bogaerts grounds that one to third, Guerrero field throws, 1 away.
And Guerrero with a nice grab at third. Mentioned yesterday, Giles let down a little bit by Teoscar Hernandez out in right field. Maybe could have caught that ball. Not able to. You see the leaderboard. This is our American League leaderboard, leading the division rival Aroldis Chapman by 2 saves. He actually leads all of Major League Baseball with those 14 saves. Keone Kela with the Pirates has 13, but no match for Giles, who is atop of all of baseball right now.
As that one is ground right up the middle, Bichette gets to it, throws, not in time. So Devers reaches. It'll be ruled an infield single here.
The first baseman.
And a very difficult play for Bichette. He's got a long way to go to get to that one. It takes him all the way out onto the outfield grass. Gets to it, but not able to make a throw. And you can see the fans on their feet here, scattered throughout the dome.
Well, if they didn't know yesterday that history was on the line, they certainly do today after all the theatrics in the ninth, with Romano coming in and getting the save, but Giles not being allowed to finish things off. We'll see what happens here, if Montoya will keep him in or not. You'd hope he would, if you're a Jays fan, and really if you're a fan of baseball. You want to see the moment of history right here. You don't want to see it botched by a manager feeling the need to micromanage. 2-0 to Moreland. Swung on and missed right up Young Street, 99 on the gun, 2-1. Moreland fouls that one off, 2 strikes now. 34 years old, debuted in 2010 with Texas. Free agent to be. The 2-2 taken low. That slider missing. So ball 3, full count now. With the runner on first and 1 out. Now the double play still in effect here. With a couple slow runners on potentially on the paths. The crowd on their feet. They're ready to see history. Is Ken Giles ready to give it to them? Swung on foul.
Moreland's got 3 extra base hits in 10 at-bats against Giles coming into 2019, but this 2020 Giles is almost like a whole other monster.
Really is. 1.87 ERA last year. As that one's flown into center, Gritchuk ranging back. Gets underneath it, makes the play. Now 2 away. We are 1 out away here. And will there be a change? No, there won't be. We will see Giles face another batter here with the chance to finish things off. So Montoya not going to remove him this time. And here it is, Chavis versus Giles. 2 away. Runner at first, Rafael Devers. Chavis 1 for 3 on the day. Starts off with ball 1.
And just about everybody throughout the dome at all levels of the park on their feet here tonight.
A history watch, as baseball watches to see if Giles can make history and have possibly the best start ever by a closer before May 1st. Going for number 15 here. The 1-1 to Chavis. Swung on and missed. 1-2 now. You can tell Giles is pumped up for this one. The adrenaline's flowing. He's dialing up the heat. 99. 1 strike away. Giles delivers. And he gets him! Ken Giles! History! The most saves before May 1st in Major League Baseball history.
And he gets it with an exclamation point as he strikes out Chavis on the breaking ball. A pitch over the zone. He fools him with the slider and gets him to strike out swinging to cap off this game, this series, and what's been a very strong start for this Blue Jays team so far, especially against these Boston Red Sox.
So the Jays take 2 of 3 from Boston. Bullpen looks excellent as per usual. And I think that's got to be the story really of this series. As their starters didn't do a whole lot. Ryu only goes 5 1/3, but the big story. How about Ken Giles? I know it says player of the game Hyun-Jin Ryu, but in my opinion, player of the game got to be Ken Giles or even Travis Shaw. And let's speak to the history a little bit here. With that record being set now, he ties the record. Most saves, Blue Jays history in a given month. Here's a guy who came here kind of not a lot of fanfare. Comes here in the Osuna trade. I think a lot of people didn't like the trade at the time. It was under, obviously, a bit of a fog with what was happening off the field, but comes here from Houston, and he delivers. 1.87 ERA last year, and now ERA below 1, 15 saves, sets a record. Your thoughts?
And the 2 records, I mean, you can speak to the Yates one where he ties the most before May 1st. As the schedule inches earlier and earlier each year, we started this year on March 26th. Detractors can take away whatever you want from that one, but I mean, you look at the Jays franchise record, and that almost speaks to me as much as setting his own records for MLB-wide, because as he ties the record from 99, you look at this 2020 Jays team, and there have been a lot better Jays teams that have given a lot more wins and a lot better safe situation opportunities over different months throughout. I mean, you look at the mid-90s, 92, 93, even the 2015-16 teams, what they were able to provide as Osuna was racking up the saves. The fact that Giles ties the record of any month, not just April, not just the start of season, ties the record for any month with 15 saves. Very impressive from him, and really, you can't look much past that ERA that's below 1. Sure, it's not a perfect 0, but an ERA that rounds to 0.5 is sure enough good for me.
Giles, the guy who wears his heart on his sleeve, and we saw the emotion after that strikeout to Chavis. So, congratulations to Ken Giles, and we're very glad that, after everything that happened yesterday, he was still able to get the opportunity to get the save and ultimately get that record. And for the Blue Jays now, they are 19-12 on the year. The Red Sox fall to 13-20 as they head home to face some AL West rivals, and they're going to need to make some hay at Fenway. But these Jays will have a day off, and then they have the Yankees coming to town. Montgomery against Shoemaker on Friday. What excites you the most about that Yankees series coming up?
Well, I think for the Jays, it's an opportunity more than anything else. They took 2 of 3 against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium, which is no easy place to go and do battle. Here now they'll face off against Montgomery in the first game, and they don't have to worry about James Paxton. They don't have to worry about Aaron Judge. They don't have to worry about Giancarlo Stanton. As later in the year they sure will, but as of right now, they're still all out of commission. And this Jays team winning 2 of 3 here, 2 of 3 in Baltimore. Maybe they've got a bit of a streak going that if there's a team you want to carry it forward to, it's going to be these Yankees.
The Jays have won 3 straight series, and they're now 8-2 against the Red Sox on the air. Won't see them for a while, but we will see you back here on Friday on the Virtual Jays Network. So for Drew Frank and Jackson Farough, we thank you for joining us today. You saw some history, you saw some runs, and of course, the Blue Jays win. And we'll see you next time, everyone. Have a great evening.